Just checking in because I saw something online today that I wanted to comment on. And it was a content creator out of California who works remotely. He does tech sales, I think he said. And he's been working remotely for however long out of California. But in April, I think he moved to Thailand. And he continued to do his job. And even with the time change and everything like that, he continued doing that work. And he started a YouTube channel. Well, you know what happened. His employer found out that he was working remotely from Thailand, and they were not happy about it. And he had initially told them, no, I'm still in California. I just go to Thailand, on vacation um, but they had seen his YouTube channel. And so he's now at a crossroads. This was posted about 4 days ago. And he posted a conversation with his employers, and they were like, so are you living in Thailand? And he kept denying it. He was like, no. And one of his coworkers said, but we had a conversation the other day, and you said that you were here in California. He said, I was, but... And he went on and on. And if you've ever gotten yourself into a situation like that where you kind of start stretching, you start off not intending to stretch the truth, but you start and then you dig yourself in a hole. And it's always better to just come clean, because generally when people start asking you questions, they know the truth anyway. And you're just, like I said, digging yourself in a hole. Anyway, so this young man has a decision to make. Does he continue to work this job, go back to California, give up his life that he's created in Thailand, or does he stay in Thailand and see if he can make things work there? Well, spoiler alert, he decided to bet on himself, and that's why I'm here. Because as I was watching his video, I was thinking, you moved to Thailand, or you went to Thailand and you liked it so much that you decided to stay there, do that. And even if your employer doesn't want you to continue to do that, bet on yourself. And it's easy for me to say that because I raised my kids and done all of the things that I had to do responsibly. These are my words, not anyone else's. When I was raising my kids, there was no way I would have quit my job and taken a chance like that, because it was very important to me when I decided in my 20s that I wanted to be a parent, that I be responsible for those children. Whoever came along, my mantra was always, they didn't ask to be here. So whatever happened, however it happened, I was going to make it work. And by God's grace, I was 9 months pregnant with my daughter when I went back to school and found a job that became a career. I worked it for 25 years, moved a few times in the process, but I always kept my job. I was always a 9 to 5 or my job. I worked way more than 9 to 5, but always kept my job. Now I'm on the other side of that. I'm retired. My children are grown. They're paying their own way. And for them, I try to encourage them while they're young to bet on themselves. Try to be as supportive of that idea as possible. The young man that I was watching doesn't sound like he gets any financial support from his family or whatever. It was his job. He decided that he was going to do something different. And so Thailand is the place that he found, etc. But what are you doing? What am I doing? I just point the finger at myself. What am I doing? So I've been talking about having a business, starting a business, working a business, being in business, starting a YouTube channel. I've started it, I've stopped it, I've started it, I've stopped it because life just was happening. Um, this past summer, summer of 2025, was just filled with a lot of traveling and visiting friends and visiting countries. I went to the Dominican Republic, I went to Colombia, and I picked up swimming. And I've talked about this on TikTok and Instagram, and it's my new hobby and it's my new thing. I've got swim hair. I mean, I call it my swimming hair. I can wet it every day, and it's all a part of um, my plan, my goal of betting on myself. So I did a Google search, and I'm looking at my notes over here. I did a quick Google search asking about the impact of earning a lot of money on our overall happiness. And this is what I got. And I did that search because years ago I had read something that, if you make 75,000, anything over that, you're not going to be happier. That research has been debunked like every other thing in life gets debunked. They went back and done some more research and they said, no, the more money you make, yeah. The hip hop generation said more money, more problems. Was that Biggie? Um, and it can bring with it some challenges and it can solve a lot of problems. A lot of people work jobs longer than they have to or want to because, not longer than they have to, longer than they want to because of the money, because they've got a house note, they've got cars to pay for, they've got other things that are keeping them tethered to that job, not necessarily the love of the work or the love of the employer. A lot of people live in places because financially they can't or can't afford to move other places. So this is what Google said as of I think about 2023. While a higher income can contribute to your happiness, it's not the sole or even the most important predictor of happiness. Other life factors like your health, your social relationships, and a sense of purpose remain significant contributors to your overall well-being. And I believe that resonates with me. So based on this data, I believe that betting on yourself, taking care of your health, both mental and physical health, having good relationships, and an overall understanding of your why adds to your happiness. So, as this young man decided to bet on himself and stay in Thailand, spoiler alert, and giving up his remote job, he sounds like he sounds like he's been living paycheck to paycheck, because he said like, I'm going to get one last check and that'll carry me over. He had paid his rent up over a period of time, even before he had to come to the decision as to whether or not he was going to leave his job. So that'll be fine. And he's just betting on the fact that his online presence, his content, his connections that he's made there in Thailand are going to take him to his next level and going to bring him the joy that he's seeking. So that was such an inspiration for me. Such an inspiration. I think about when I was raising my children, I was like the captain of that ship, me and my kids, and the decisions that I had to make, I did for the good of the team. And then I recently, a few years ago, I sent my children a certificate of adulthood, where I said to them, you have met all of the requirements that your mother, the chief, um, that I set forth, that I believe that adults should have. So, therefore, here's your certificate of adulthood. You are officially an adult. You graduated from your mother's system, and they're both out doing their thing. My son is now a parent. My daughter has her own, they both pay their own rent and take care of themselves on their own. And the funny part about that is I said to them that I would like to kind of shift the dynamics of our relationship and mix it up a little bit, that we can have conversations adult to adult, not mom to child, right? Because they're all well over 21 years old. So the funny part was they were both in separate conversations that I had with them. They both were like, well, that's going to be a little interesting because you've always said to us, I'm not one of your little friends. I don't know how I said it, but I did always get that across to them. I'm the adult. You are the child. Times change. Things have changed. I am not. I don't live in their house. When I go to their house, I try to be as respectful of their house rules, of their home, as I would like for them to be in my house. When they were living with me and I was paying all of the bills, their old blues song that said I was paying the cost to be the boss. I was, and that's what I was doing. But we don't have that relationship anymore. We have a relationship of mutual respect. I respect them, they respect me. So, all that to say, in 2025, in September, in this time where Black women have been encouraged to, what is the expression? Whatever they're saying we should be doing, I'm doing what I want to do. And the main thing I want to do is bet on myself. I am taking chances and I am daring to dream, and I am putting myself out here in the interest of making myself proud, making my children proud, any that come behind me, any of my children's children, I want them to be proud, because the decisions that I make have to do with bringing me joy, and I am putting myself out here on these social media spaces in the hopes that I am being a plus, an add to society, to the world, that any Black woman that sees me, anybody that sees me will be like, oh, that I make them smile and not like, there's so much of that out there. I feel that my moral compass is pointing me in the right direction, and most importantly is pointing me to freedom. In the spirit of Harriet Tubman and all those who have come before us, may you all be looking toward whatever freedom and joy and laughter and love looks like for you. I pray that that's what you're headed toward as well. So how's it going? Leave a comment down below, as they say, all of that stuff, if you want to put it in the chat. Are you ready to bet on yourself? Are you ready to follow your dreams and live for you? I started thinking about my dreams maybe about, 10 years ago. My daughter graduated from high school in 2014, so 11 years ago. And I started asking myself, well, Mom, what you gonna do now? I was sending her off to college. My son was already launched. What are you gonna do with yourself? And so it's taken me a few years to get to where I am right now, to be brave enough to be like, and I've tried some things, done some things with my hair, done some things with my life. I've lived in quite a few places since 2014. I did leave my job back then and moved around a bit. And I feel settled. I feel like I'm in a good place. And I want to encourage you to find that for yourself as well. Join me on this journey. I'm going to be posting more and sharing more good news, sharing more of the things that I'm learning about life. And I'd love to have you be in my community. All right. This community is for Black women over 50. That's specific. My business mentor, they kept putting us, like, they were like, you can't be all things to all people. So that doesn't mean that I have any problems with anybody. I've said this a million times. It just means that as I learn how to be and live in this period of time, 2025, as I am 62 years old, I want to be in community with other women going, how's it going for you? Have you experienced these things? My mother's not alive anymore. My grandma, I don't have, guidance in that way. So build a community of us that we can, figure it out for ourselves. FUBU, for us, by us. So that's the reason for the Black Women Over 50. Join me. All right. Take care.